The movie begins with a couple making their way through a dark alley on a night out. The guy, a famous industrialist Harold Brownlow, seems to be stumbling since he is quite drunk. Suddenly, he bumps into a huge hairy towering figure that turns out to be a monster. The monster digs its teeth into the guy's neck, eliminating him. The woman makes a run for it, but she is chased by another monster who attacks her, but she manages to escape to the main road. However, she meets her fate when she runs into a police car and gets hit. Later, the police are concerned about these disappearances while they investigate this attack. The captain wants his special cop Chuck Steele to crack this down. Next, we see a renegade cop Chuck Steele who wakes up from the nightmare flashback sequence of how his wife was kidnapped by Yakuza and his gang. Even though Chuck Steele manages to subdue the entire gang with his amazing fighting skills, Yakuza escapes in a chopper with Chuck's wife. When Chuck manages to approach them, Yakuza pushes the wife from the plane, and despite Chuck's efforts, he is unable to save his wife, who falls into eternal sleep. Chuck crashes into a billboard with an advertisement about a circus and clowns. Chuck proceeds to work out while watching the news on his TV, where the reporter introduces the new Governor Atkins, who makes big promises to work on reducing alcohol consumption in the city and help the homeless community. The reporter takes a swing at him, hinting that his philanthropic acts might just be a cover for his underground illegal operations, which he brushes off. Chuck notices clowns behind the governor, the same ones from the circus billboard, and he blows his TV with his gun as he is reminded of his bitter past. He gets ready to leave for work and is harried by his landlord about the rent. As he gives alms to a poor guy, he is met by a rookie cop, Barney, who has been assigned as his partner. This pisses off Chuck since he likes to work all on his own. However, he proceeds to a criminal pursuit where he takes out some criminals but also causes a lot of collateral damage because of his disregard for rules and general safety. He then reports to his captain Jack Skit, who is furious about his recklessness. His rookie partner Barney could not take this rash behavior. The captain is fed up with Chuck's behavior, and he hates how all the partners he has assigned to him over the years cannot handle his impulsiveness. However, he does not back out and asks Chuck to choose from 3 options he has for a partner: a woman, a cheese plant, or a monkey. Chuck reluctantly chooses the Swedish woman Office Ingrid, but when she enters the room, he is shocked to find that she is a very masculine, unattractive woman. The chief assigns the assault case on the industrialist and his wife to the new team as he receives a call from the hospital that the woman has regained consciousness. When they get to the hospital, they find that the wife is about to be staked by an old man hovering over her. Chuck manages to take him down. At the precinct, he investigates the old guy who tells him that the woman in the hospital is a threat to them since she is going to turn into a trampire, as she was bitten by one. He introduces himself as Abraham Van Rentel, a supernatural hunter who explains to Chuck that ever since the vampires were chased out of Transylvania, where they used to attack people without fear, they were forced to adapt due to low food supply and abundance of booze, turning them into trampires. So now the run-out trampires feed on people who have high levels of alcohol in their system, since the trampires lust for blood and booze intermingle, changing their genetic makeup. Chuck thinks Van Rentel is delusional and throws him in jail. Next, the chief reminds Chuck of his appointment with the police psychiatrist Dr. Alex Kueller, which Chuck had been avoiding for quite some time. The chief still pushes him to go through it because of his anger management issues. Chuck goes to her office, but he gets offended when she tries to address his rage by bringing up the topic of his late wife. He disapproves of her therapy because all the members of the precinct have become emotionally labile after her sessions. While she defends her acts as being the one to save officers from self-destruction, Chuck walks out. Next, we see that the trampires are rampant throughout the city and keep attacking drunk people, increasing their numbers. Chuck is informed by the chief that Van Rentel has escaped, and he needs to figure out where the missing industrialist is since he is close friends with Governor Atkins. Chuck heads to the hospital to see Mrs. Brownlow because this is where he came across Van Rentel in the first place. When he gets there, he sees that she has turned into a trampire and wants to eliminate Van Rentel. But as Chuck opens the drapes, she passes away because of the sunlight, but also warns them the master will come and make them pay. She then turns into a bat and bites Chuck on his nose. He manages to eliminate her, and meanwhile, Officer Ingrid passes away by falling through the window when she tries to save them from the bat. The chief is worried sick that Chuck has managed to lose yet another partner, and he takes Chuck off this case and assigns him patrol duty at the circus later that night. He also warns him to stay in line since the psychiatrist has labeled him unfit for duty due to his unresolved anger. When Chuck explains what happened at the hospital, the chief dismisses it as he thinks this is just one of Chuck's conspiracy theories, like the one where he thinks that the governor is a lizard who is trying to take over the world since he is Illuminati. Chuck leaves the chief's office along with his newly assigned partner, the monkey Bubbles, as well as Van Rentel, who warns him that soon he will transform into a trampire by midnight since he was bitten by the bat. They go to a bar where they get drunk in an attempt to lure the trampires out of their hiding. Van Rentel explains that the mater of the Trampires has planned to cause a lock-in where the knight will stay for a long period of time, making all the people drink to their fill, which will eventually result in an endless food supply for the Trampires to feed on while increasing their army. However, there is a man destined to defeat them. After a lot of failed attempts at trying to find the Trampires, Chuck's hangover sets in. Van Rentel suggests that Chuck dresses up as a woman since statistically, the Trampires seem to attack drunk couples more. After getting some clothes from a harlot, they suddenly come across a Trampire who attacks them but runs away when Van Rentel yields his crucifix. The Trampire runs away and they follow him, finally making their way to the Master's lair where all the Trampires have assembled. Chuck and Van Rentel are shocked to find out that the Master of the Trampires is Dr. Alex Kueller, who is strong enough to be unaffected by the sun, with extra strength. She addresses the masses that their journey is soon about to be over as she has successfully managed to render the Los Angeles Police Department ineffective by messing with minds with her therapies. Now they will not able to stop the Trampires as the Trampires find the Puritan as eliminating him will bring in the lock-in and the Trampires will then rise to glory and rule the humans. Van Rentel and Chuck deduce that the Puritan must be Governor Atkins as he is cutting down the alcohol consumption in the city, decreasing the food supply of the Trampires. However, they are captured and Kueller reveals that Chuck's wife did not pass away, but actually left him for a clown, and he kept it a secret to protect his image. She holds the letter from his wife that Chuck had hidden in his apartment, but the landlord found it as he was going through his apartment, whom Kueller manages to eliminate along with his bird. After the public humiliation, the duo is then tied up while Kueller and her Trampires go to the circus, where the governor would be, to execute their plan. Bubbles the monkey helps the two escape, but in the process, he is eliminated by a Trampire pig, who then carries off Van Rentel and flies away, but not before Van Rentel instructs him to head to the circus to save the Puritan. With less time on his hand, Steele returns to his apartment to arm himself for the final showdown, but there he finds out that his landlord Gusman and Pet Parrot have turned into Trampires too, and after a fight, they accidentally destroy Chuck's apartment, and Chuck and his weapons are blown onto the street after the explosion. He regains consciousness and wakes up to find himself in a homeless town, saved by the same poor guy he gave money to earlier. Also, it is revealed that the non-Trampire homeless of La know about the monsters rampant in the city and they are modifying Chuck's weapons to prepare for the fight against the Trampires. A funny rough drawing on a wall discovered by a man called the Wise One is the reason that they all believe that Chuck is actually the chosen one to defeat the masters of Trampires, the one Van Rentel told him about earlier. Chuck leaves and goes to the circus with all the non-Trampire homeless and is also joined by Van Rentel. While the security takes the governor to safety, the final battle occurs. A massive fight takes place at the circus where most of the Trampires are hunted down and eliminated. This is when Kueller appears and reveals her true self to be a gargantuan gargoyle-like creature with tongues for nipples and a giant womb that opens up and entangles people with a gigantic tentacle. She manages to grab the governor but is shocked to learn that he is in fact an Illuminati lizard, as Chuck suspects. The governor, or now the Illuminati, engages in a fight with the master. During all this chaos, Chuck succumbs to the bite and becomes a Trampire, but by using his ex-wife's crucifix necklace that he has kept all along, he is able to turn himself back into a human to be able to save the people. Next, he and Van Rentel manage to defeat the master through a combination of wooden-tipped bullets that the homeless had crafted, along with holy coffee. They also shove the crucifix necklace down her mouth of master, though her liver survives. With the imminent threat of the master subdued for a while, Chuck then proceeds to fight the governor. Van Rentel then stakes the master's liver, and both are eventually destroyed once and for all. Steele then finds his ex-wife, and she tells him that the breakup letter that she sent him was actually written by the clown she left him for and that she does still love him, but can't be with him because he's not a clown. In the end, Chuck and Van Rentel exit the circus, and Van Rentel explains that there are still other creatures out there to fight, to which Chuck then asks him face or balls, claiming he is ready to take on other challenges as he is the chosen savior.